Today we're going to be going over my life. How exciting. Finally, all about me. Hello, I'm Leon Lovelace with the Leon Lovelace channel, and today we're going to be talking about my life. I have a kind of a fun little story. I don't know if it's fun, but it's an interesting story. So I thought I'd share it. Let's see, I was born in Culver City in 1976. I have a sister who was a year and a half younger than I am. She was also born in Culver City. I lived in Los Angeles with my parents for approximately 3 years, which was around the time that social services started getting involved. You can imagine. Apparently there was a little bit of neglect and other things. Actually, I just learned recently that my birth father was the one who, and I say birth father, you'll see, well, he was the one who actually originally called social services because he wanted them to teach my mom how to be a better mother. And they apparently just never left. Like, they stayed there, and eventually we were actually taken from them and put into an orphanage in Anaheim, California. And we were there, well, apparently we weren't there for as long as I thought, although I do have a lot of memories, but we were there for up to 4 years. So I don't know if we were there the whole time, but towards the end we were definitely there the whole time. I was there from the ages of 3 to 7, and at 7 I was adopted by my mom and dad now. I call them mom and dad, so that's why I had to say birth father, because I got to come up, or bio dad. I've also, I don't know, I like bio dad. It sounds exciting, like he might be a superhero or something. Bio dad. Anyhow. So while we were in the orphanage, it actually wasn't, at least from my perspective. My sister may have a different story, but I don't think so. But it wasn't, it wasn't bad at all. Worst punishment was a timeout. Go face the corner and stand there. So there wasn't a lot of abuse. I have fond memories of the orphanage just because it was kind of a big camp. It was a big camp playground where you're sort of staying in barracks with all of your friends. So it was, and some of your frenemies too, actually. So yeah. I actually have one memory from the orphanage, and I don't remember why I was so pissed off. I was pissed for some reason. I was a little kid, and they told me something that I didn't like, and I remember just storming through the halls, and I decided to pull the fire alarm thing. Decided to pull the fire alarm because I thought that was a good idea. And so, the fire department came. It was bad. I ended up having to write like apology letters to all of them, and that was fun. And those big little kid letters, that was pretty exciting. I also remember my birth mother attacking the social worker with a hanger, like with hanger wire. But in her defense, she was told that she was having her parental rights taken away. So I guess that probably made her a little angry, I have a few pre-orphanage memories as well. I remember running up an apartment stairwell, like being chased by, in hindsight, I think maybe it was the social workers, but who knows, I was a little kid. And I remember jumping over some big hole in the ground, which was probably pretty small. The other thing I remember is being hungry and my father taking me on a little walk and boosting me into a garbage bin so that I could procure some food. And I remember it was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Half of it was still there, so not like eaten half, it was cut in half. I'm not a savage. See, like I said, it's colorful. It's a little colorful story. I was adopted at 7, and then my sister and I actually were adopted when I was 7. She was just about to turn 6, and we moved to a place called, actually, we didn't even move to a city. We moved in between cities. And it was just orange trees, orange orchards, lemon orchards. There's a place called, in between the place called Santa Paula and Fillmore in California. And I do actually have fond memories of that because it was that country life, you know. It was kind of nice. It's kind of nice to be out there in the country, just kind of go out there by myself and have plenty of room to just play around. My sister and I would walk to school towards the end, like not at first, you know, but after a while we would walk to, and then I made friends at that school and we would meet on the way to school, and it was kind of that stand by me life, you know, just walking around on the train tracks. There were no dead bodies though, other than lizards, things like that. So because we lived kind of out in the middle of nowhere, the school I went to was a one-room schoolhouse. It's this little house on the prairie style where each row was basically a grade. So, you know, it was like, and it was 1 through 6. And so every year, you know, you would just move over a row. And how it worked is a lot of the older students, the 5th and 6th graders, were responsible for actually correcting some of the younger kids, like homework and things like that. That's how they managed the workload, because that would be a lot of work. 6 grades, oof. And there was one teacher, one head teacher there. Her name was Mrs. Sayer, and she had one assistant, although it's not like the teacher's assistants you see these days. She was also an elderly lady. So these years were kind of magical, and we'll call it Santa Paula, even though it wasn't in Santa Paula proper. It was in the outskirts. And like I said, I like these years because there was a lot of freedom, a lot of running around through the orchards. I remember too, because we were just renting a house on a ranch property, and the owner of the ranch, he had a bunch of sheds there was a barn I could go and play around in. I wasn't really supposed to, but there was a barn I could still, I could go and play in. And I remember he had this one little shed, and I was poking around it one day, and it obviously stands out in my mind because I found these like 1970s Playboys. And for a young little lad, that was an exciting, it was probably like 11 maybe at that time, 12, It was an exciting memory. Remember that. And my friend, I think it was an exciting memory for him too. Speaking of my friend, I had my best friend Steven. He lived, he was my neighbor, but out there in the country is like, it's probably half a mile away, at least. And I remember there was a little love triangle in the later years because our grade that Steven and I are in, we only, at 5th and 6th grade, we were the only 3 that were in that grade. So there was just one girl, and my friend liked her, she kind of liked me. I'm just like another thing about me is I was like an innocent little schoolboy until I pretty much got into college. So I don't know what's going on. I don't even can't get too R-rated, but I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on. Another magical time about the school was the walks to and home from school, because it was just walking with my friends and my sister, and we would just cruise and just like play along the way. Even though the walk home would maybe only take 20 minutes, we would take an hour and a half just sort of stopping and playing on the way. I remember there was this jungle gym graveyard where they had just, all the old jungle gyms, they just had them here. And so it was all rusty and dangerous. So of course we were playing around in there. Yeah, a lot of good times. I think I'm gonna actually stop it here at this, at the end of the 6th grade when I graduate from the one-room schoolhouse. Please join me next time when I go over more about my exciting life. I'm Leon Lovelace with The Leon Lovelace Show.